Most people overpay for car insurance, not because they're careless, but because switching feels like too much hassle. That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry compares rates side by side from over 50 top insurers and helps you switch with ease. Jerry even tracks market rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Switch with confidence. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/Libsyn today. That's JERRY.ai/LIBSYN.
I'm Dad Flakey.
I'm Lilibet Flakey.
And this is Pointless Global News. On today's show, how much do we fart in a day? And which age group is the gassiest?
Then, an Idaho man juggles torches while riding a unicycle and no longer has eyebrows.
Next, RFK Jr. debuts The Real Food Show. The food show nobody asked for. That story later. But first, you have to wonder what the presentation was that came to the conclusion, we really need to do this study. Researchers decided to find out how frequently we fart in a day, counting the gas passed by 6,400 people all across Australia and collecting data on all 360,192 of their farts. Crikey! Given how flatulence can give us insight into gut health, it's surprising how little we know about the line between what's good and what's excessive. Scientists had to solve a problem. How do you count farts? Well, this year, researchers at the University of Maryland created Smart Underwear, a small device that snaps into the underwear and sensors track farts automatically. And then there was also the option to insert something in the ass to measure the gas that's being built up. The problem is people often would hold it to release it in a more socially acceptable place. So, an Australian team came up with a solution. They call it Chart Your Fart. They gave participants a small smartphone app where they could log their air biscuits as soon as they're released as possible. The app was designed to be discreet so anyone around participants wouldn't be clued into their farting habits. All sorts of people joined the study from ages 14 on up. The only people who weren't considered were those who recently made a major diet change because that would cause abnormal farting. On average, people fart 5 times a day, the study showed. The median was slightly lower at 3.8 farts a day, which means that there was a subset of very gassy people driving up the average. This is true across demographics. Men, women, young, old. A few folks pass gas significantly more than the rest of the group, making the average at least 1 higher a day than the median. A vast majority, 79.3%, recorded between 2 and 7 farts a day. Men recorded more farts than women, no surprise there, 5.2 versus 4.8 a day on average. The youngest, ages 14 to 25, recorded the least farts at 4.4 on average. Ages 26 to 45 farted the most, with slightly more than 5 a day. But the next group, 46 to 65, was close at exactly 5 a day. Researchers said they didn't get enough data from folks 65 and up. I call that boomer discrimination. Researchers also found when farts happen during the day, they gradually increase until a peak in the evening after dinner. This largely correlates with when people are taking in energy and fiber through food. Farts follow, usually about an hour or so later. This study shows the average farts a day are much lower than previous research. Some say 14 to 23, while Smart Underwear device detected people farting from 4 to 59 times a day. Don't want to be next to that person doing it 59 times a day, do you? I don't think so. This is explained in part by the nature of the Australian study. You have to be awake to log your farts in the app, so it misses all nighttime flatulence while you sleep. Again, farting is normal, though habits can change. Smoking, chewing gum, and carbonated drinks introduce more air into the gut, producing more farts. High-fiber foods like beans, lentils, broccoli, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts can cause gas by fermenting in the colon. Yes, farts are normal, and as George Carlin once said, kids love farting because farts are shit without the mess.
Well, I know from personal experience that you are above average, Pat. But I won't tell all your business. We'll
Yeah.
just be quiet because I don't want you telling
Yeah,
mine.
had to let that cat out of the bag.
Yeah, I don't want you letting any of my cats or anything else out the bag. So, an Idaho man sacrificed his eyebrows to break the Guinness World Record for the most consecutive flaming torch juggling catches on a unicycle. David Rush, who already held several Guinness World Record titles for both unicycling and juggling, said he was brimming with unearned confidence when he decided to take on the previous record of 37 catches. Nobody puts the real hazard in the official rule books, Rush wrote online. The moment you pedal a unicycle forward while juggling torches, the forward momentum creates a draft that blows the flames straight back into your face. Rush said he quickly singed off his eyebrows and the hair on the backs of his hands during his first attempt to juggle flaming torches on his unicycle. He decided to spend some time practicing with unlit torches and set his official attempt for Halloween 2025. I set up the cameras, dipped the wicks, lit them, mounted the unicycle, and immediately dropped every single torch on the concrete, Rush said. I picked them up, dusted them off, hopped back on the saddle, and dropped them again. Failure in under 3 seconds. But I say all the time, failure does not define you. How you respond to it does. He finally found his groove on his third attempt, managing 175 catches to more than quadruple the previous record. Video from Rush's attempt was reviewed by Guinness World Records, and he is now the official holder of the title. Well, I always tell you, why? Why does the Guinness World Record book exist? Why do people feel they have to do these things?
It's a challenge that some people just can't resist.
Well, then they should have one in there for people who fart the most. That I think that should be coming soon, don't you?
I might have to sign up for that one.
Oh, help me.
Okay, well, finally, our beloved Health and Human Services Secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., premiered The Real Food Show on Thursday. Episode 1 stars Chef Andrew Gruel making crispy salmon cakes with apple, white bean, and green salad for under $5 a serving. Robert Irvine turns up later in the show. Kennedy himself does not cook. He has said his wife Cheryl Hines handles that. He also complains that Americans have forgotten how to cook, calling it a lost art. So, to recap, the format is a man who doesn't cook complaining that people don't cook standing next to men who do cook on the same website where boomers renew Medicare. All the while sounding like he gargled an entire bottle of liquid Drano. Possibly related to all this, Kennedy's biographer reported that RFK kept a freezer full of roadkill. In 2014, he found a bear cub that had been hit on the road and loaded it into his car, planning to skin it and eat it. He later ran late for a flight and then decided to leave it in Central Park and arranged it so it would look like a bicycle had an accident with it. He admitted doing this a decade later on Roseanne Barr's podcast. Amazingly, all of this is true. But wait, there's more. Kennedy once took a chainsaw to a dead whale's head in Hyannisport, Massachusetts, and then bungee corded it to the roof of his family minivan, drove it for 5 hours to Mount Kisco, and his daughter Kik said the whale juice would pour in through the windows as they drove down the road. I'm sure that's a memorable childhood experience. He also pulled over on the shoulder of I-684 to remove the genitals of a dead raccoon while his children waited in the car. He claimed during divorce proceedings that his parasitic worm burrowed into his brain and died there. He once got mercury poisoning from eating too much tuna. Last May, he waded into Rock Creek in Washington, D.C. with his grandchildren right past a large visible Park Service sign warning about E. coli in the water. The man has run a decades-long uncontrolled trial on his own body, and the result appears to be that a human can absorb an astonishing amount of parasites, chemicals, and poop before anything goes visibly wrong. Coincidentally, this also appears to be the basis of current federal nutrition guidance. RFK Jr.'s FDA currently lists 12 active foodborne illness outbreaks. 4 are cyclospora. There is salmonella in eggs, E. coli in frozen organic blueberries, listeria in cheese, botulism in powdered infant formula sold at Target, and screwworms working their way through American cattle. FDA funding and staff have been slashed to the bone. The CDC program built specifically to catch all of this before it became a problem was cut as well. The United States is currently in the throes of sickness not seen in over a century, and the man in charge just launched a cooking show where he doesn't cook while complaining that no one cooks anymore.
Unfortunately, there's also a massive, maybe not massive, but there is a significant increase in measles and probably other childhood communicable diseases. Polio, no doubt, is just around the corner because he's cut the need for vaccines and compensating agencies who give vaccines for free. So
and along those lines, I saw a few months ago a little meme where they had a picture of his wife, Cheryl Hines, and referred to her as the marvelous Mrs. Measles.
Yes, not a surprise.
Which is very well thought out.
So sad.
So
we're doomed.
We are. And that's a wrap for another Happy Pointless Global News. Be sure to follow us wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Tad Flakey.
I'm Lilibet Flakey.
Stay pointless, my friend.